Humans develop technology to make life easier, simpler. No matter where we are in the world, we can share ideas, information, and joy. Sometimes, though, the complexities of the tools we create that are meant to connect us distract us from what's truly important. Each successive generation makes it clearer that the use of digital media is expanding, becoming more accessible, and children adapt to its influences at increasingly younger ages. The academic success and moral perspectives of children are profoundly influenced by their environments, the technologies they use, and by the stories shared with them. Educators today must ask, how can we teach what's truly important and bring children together for complex learning in a world saturated by individualized digital media? The storied histories of world religions may be the answer. Religious stories from everywhere on the globe, shared across nations for generations, each providing valuable perspectives about humanity's purpose in life and beyond. Stories that inspire beautiful artwork, ceremonies, and music. Stories that led entire civilizations to develop unique cultures and master mathematics and engineering so that people could build structures that reached the skies and would stand the tests of time. Just imagine what the next generation can create with religious literacy and technological proficiency. The future of education begins now. It's time to invest in a curriculum for the next generation, one that cuts through the pervasive digital noise of the world and teaches religious literacy as a framework for enhanced learning. Before it's too late, before technology further divides us. My name is John Bolsch. I'm a Doctor of Education student at Liberty University, and this is Restoring Deep Learning Through Religious Literacy, an action plan for public education in Jasper County schools. In today's digitally saturated educational environment, students are exposed to limitless personalized media and content that fragment their ability to form common cultural and cognitive bonds necessary for deep learning. Rapid bursts of digital media immediately satisfy young children's desire for learning, replacing the motivation they should have to learn in school. These behaviors are dangerously addictive and harmful to classroom learning. Secular lack of communal stories and shared values also impairs relational learning and academic engagement. As an example, for each passing minute, over 500 hours of YouTube content is uploaded for the world to watch. Therefore, if you lived for 115 years, or just over 1 million hours, that means you were unable to watch over 29 billion hours of video content uploaded during your lifetime. How in the world is anyone going to keep up with that trend? How are teachers supposed to metaphorically connect with their students if they have no known shared stories? As the difficulty in fostering meaningful discussions widens, there becomes a distinct need for a cohesive cognitive framework that puts all learners on the same page, literally and figuratively. Historically, Western education systems incorporated religious and philosophical curricula that provided a stable foundation for moral reasoning, cultural identity, and critical thinking. Since the early 1960s, however, public schools have distanced themselves from the practice of teaching religious education due to court rulings emphasizing the separation of church and state, as well as banning religious practices and services in public schools. Cases like Engel versus Vitale and Abington versus Schempp led to overly generalized beliefs that the world's religions were disallowed from being taught in schools. This is simply untrue. Technoference is the concept that technology use hampers academic performance. The state of South Carolina has legally banned the use of cellular devices in public schools, but the effects of digital media saturation and the temptation to use cellular phones remain rampant. As media content increasingly diversifies and isolates students' experiences, the absence of shared moral narratives widens social and cognitive gaps. To address this emergent issue, this plan proposes the integration of neutral religious literacy programs in public school curricula, designed to foster critical thinking, ethical reasoning, academic success, and community building without endorsing any singular faith or set of religious beliefs. There are numerous studies highlighting the efficacious benefits that religious literacy yields for developing 21st century skills and improving overall academic performance. Research supports the use of pluralistic religious education models that accentuate cultural understanding, empathy, and moral development as indicators for academic achievement across diverse populations. The goal of this proposed action plan is to introduce unbiased religious literacy as an elective in Jasper County public schools. These electives will implement strategies that offer an exclusive means to restore critical learning foundations and provide students with higher order skills to reason ethically as citizens of Jasper County. We will reinforce shared communal values while respecting secular, legal, and educational mandates. Because digital media saturation exists and is not likely to diminish, it is best to embrace and balance its effects through educational applications and interventions. By developing a religious literacy elective, students will be gifted an opportunity to deeply explore the histories of humankind while fostering a meaningful, intrinsic motivation to learn. We will train our educators to deliver neutral, unbiased religious literacy, and set an example for future educators everywhere by creating a pilot course in our middle and high schools that can be applied throughout the state. A total of $7,500 is all that is needed to ensure our school district can operationally achieve a comprehensive milestone for the future of education. The resources required include $500 for research materials, $1,000 for classroom materials, $2,500 for professional curriculum development staff and materials, and $3,000 for educators' professional development so they can deliver excellent worldly instruction. This action plan outlines a phased, cost-conscious approach to developing and implementing a universally unbiased religious literacy program aimed at strengthening consummate academic, professional, and 21st century knowledge and skills. First, it is essential to form a curriculum development committee with a goal of establishing a budget and schedule and to define their own internal roles and responsibilities. This will begin the 2-year timeline at the beginning of the 2025 through 2026 school year. Next, these educational professionals will determine which existing curricular materials are useful and applicable for our scholars. Consequently, the selected materials and curriculum will be presented to the Board of Education and the community for feedback and approval, ensuring compliance with all laws and educational regulations. Midway through the school year, following winter break, the Curriculum Development Committee will begin training teachers to use and expound upon lesson plans, multimedia tools, and their training. Surveys will also need to be created. The purpose of these surveys will be to gather and analyze valid and reliable data related to the integration of the curriculum, and to assess participating students' overall academic growth and garner feedback from instructors that will improve the program. At the end of the 2025 through 2026 school year, the Curriculum Development Committee will meet to prepare and implement the Religious Education Pilot Elective course at the start of the 2026 through 2027 school year, again focusing on legal and ethical compliance and cultural sensitivities. The faculty intended to teach the program will strengthen their content knowledge and receive additional pedagogical training before the pilot launches. The 2026 through 2027 school year begins, the religious education electives will be available in Jasper County's 2 middle schools and 2 high schools. Surveys will then be conducted periodically, and the data will be compiled and analyzed every 6 months. At the end of the 2026 through 2027 school year, we will have 1 full year of academic data to support or refute the concept that religious education has instilled a deep passion for scholarly learning and improved students' overall academic achievements in other core subject areas. The expected outcomes for this plan are twofold. For the plan itself, teachers and students alike will explore and enhance their understanding, and thusly their whole personhood, of core content that bridges religious philosophies and social sciences, such as living together, being a responsible community member, being a citizen of the world, and exploring reality. Our hope is that students' overall academic performance will improve, transforming what they learn through religious literacy about life and existence and purpose into a love of learning that further drives their desires for more education. By beginning with careful research and stakeholder collaboration and emphasizing legal compliance coupled with educator training, this plan offers a sustainable model for curriculum enrichment without violating secular education standards. This pilot program could become a shining example of an educational model for the future and be implemented throughout the state, the United States of America, and even the world. And it will begin here in Jasper County. More importantly, our scholars here will immediately become less driven by digital media consumption and more adept in their studies. They will form a cohesive community, equipped to become leaders who promote acceptance, understanding, empathy, and wisdom. Their 21st century skills will broaden as they receive exceptional instruction through the resources provided by our administrators. And their worldly perspectives will inspire joy, purpose, interfaith understanding, and a commitment to higher education. I ask that you consider the extraordinary benefits of this pilot program's potential. Invest in a curriculum that breaks the cycle of digital media saturation by delivering historically proven literacy skills. Provide our educators with the training and the tools necessary to make Jasper County a paragon of educational advancement. Let's be proactive. Let's connect with and enhance our scholars' learning abilities now and set the stage for all educators to follow in our footsteps. The following resources were cited as evidence for this action plan. If you would like to know more about this research, please reach out to me, John Bolsch, at jbolsch@liberty.edu or at john.bolsch@jcsd.net. Thank you for your attention and for the outstanding educational experiences you bestow to the young learners in our community.